All right, so it's time for another eBay unboxing. And I just wanted to show you what I did with this. Now, I just did a video about this antique St. Joan of Arc brooch that I got. This is a Victorian brooch, really gorgeous. And I made it into a third-class relic of St. Therese right there. And now we got a relic of St. Therese, a third class. And I place it on top. There we go. And we got Joan of Arc. And now let's open up the next item in fast motion. Now, I went absolutely bananas for this. I don't know why. I didn't even know who this saint was. And when I found out who this saint was, I was like, wow. And so I went into a bidding war. And in the last 2 seconds of the auction, I won it. I put a bid in and I beat out the other person that was high bidder. And we have here St. Clare of Assisi, Italy. And I was like, why did I have to have this so bad? And it turns out I could not understand why. I was very sad that day because it was the day that my deceased mother, it was her birthday. It was August 11th, and I actually won this on my mother's birthday. Did not understand why I had to have this so bad. Turns out this saint, actually their feast date is incredible because it's on my mother's birthday, August 11th. All right, so that really blew me away. Now, this is an ex-ossibus, and it's Latin, and it means bone. From the bone, first-class relic of St. Clare of Assisi, Italy. And so this is really something else. And look at this gorgeous Thecca. I don't know if you can see this, but this Thecca has beautiful angels going around it. Now, it did not come with documentation because most of these are orphans. The documentation goes missing. But I do know it is the real deal because, let's pull off the back if we can get it off. Okay, so I got it off, and we do have the correct stamp that tells me this is a real holy relic. It's not a fake. You have to be very careful of fakes. This is definitely a real wax seal. And I found out what the wax seal was of. I forgot. I think it's of the Redemptorists or something like that. But this is actually authentic. You have to be very careful. There's a lot of fakes out there. The strings were not cut. I don't know if you could see that. So this was not tampered with in any way, any shape or any form. So this saint is actually known as the female version of St. Francis of Assisi. They both knew each other at the same time, and they both worked together at the same time. Really cool. So I'm going to try to find a historical video that we can watch to find out more about this amazing saint. And in the meantime, I'm going to place it in a reliquary. Now, this is a very, very large Thecca, and hopefully I have a reliquary big enough for it. All right, so now it's in its beautiful reliquary. I added an antique crucifix right there. We have a tassel on the side, and it looks really beautiful. Look at that. And I had to oost one of my other first-class relics out of this reliquary to make room because this one is a very large one with the angels going around it, as you can see here. All right, so I have her in her reliquary, and so we're going to watch a quick short video that I found on YouTube, of course, YouTube, actually telling her story, how she was really great friends with St. Francis of Assisi, and this feather actually fell down. It fluttered. I was holding this reliquary with her relic in it. By the patio glass door, and I was holding it and admiring it, and with that, a white feather just came straight down from heaven and landed right on the ground. I ran out and I grabbed it, and I feel like it's a sign from my mother because St. Clare's feast day is August 11th, my mother's birthday, and I was very drawn to this. I had to have it. I did not know anything about her, and we're going to find out more about her right now and her miracle that she performed during the Holy Crusades, which is quite crazy.
Saint Clare is the co-foundress of the Order of Poor Ladies, or Clares, and first abbess of San Damiano. She was born at Assisi, Italy, on the 16th of July, in 1194 and died there on the 11th of August, in 1253. She was the eldest daughter of Favrino Sci-Fi, Count of Sasso Rosso, representative of a wealthy ancient Roman family, who owned a large palace in Assisi and a castle on the slope of Mount Sabasio. Her saintly mother, Blessed Ortolana, belonged to the noble family of Fiume and was noted for her zeal and piety. As a child she was most devoted to prayer and to practices of mortification, and as she passed into girlhood her distaste for the world and her yearning for a more spiritual life increased. She was 18 years of age when St. Francis came to preach the Lenten course in the Church of San Giorgio at Assisi. The inspired words of Francis kindled a flame in the heart of Clare. She sought him out secretly and begged him to help her that she too might live after the manner of the Holy Gospel. Saint Francis, who at once recognized in Clare one of those chosen souls destined by God for great things, and who also, probably, realized that many would follow her example, promised to assist her. On the night of Sunday she secretly left her father's house, by St. Francis's advice and, accompanied by her Aunt Bianca and another companion, proceeded to the humble chapel of the Porziuncula, where St. Francis and his disciples met her with lights in their hands. Claire then laid aside her rich dress, and Saint Francis, having cut off her hair, clothed her in a rough tunic and a thick veil, and in this way the young heroine vowed herself to the service of Jesus Christ. This was on the 20th of March, in 1212. She and her following of nuns devoted themselves to a cloistered life of prayer and penance. Claire wrote their Rule of Life, the first set of monastic guidelines known to have been written by a woman. Claire was soon joined by her sister Caterina, who took the name Agnes. Once, during an enemy attack against Assisi, and while the army was approaching the gates, the fierce Saracens invaded San Damiano, entered the confines of the monastery and even the very cloister of the sisters. Saint Claire, with a fearless heart, sick as she was, went to the enemy, preceded by a silver and ivory case in which the body of Christ, Eucharist, was kept with great devotion. And prostrating herself before the Lord, she spoke cheerfully to her Christ, "Behold, my Lord, is it possible you want to deliver into the hands of pagans your defenseless handmaids, whom I have taught out of love for you? I pray you, Lord, protect these your handmaids whom I cannot now save by myself." Suddenly a voice like that of a child resounded in her ears from the tabernacle, "I will always protect you. My Lord," she added, "if it is your wish, protect also this city which is sustained by your love." Christ replied, "It will have to undergo trials, but it will be defended by my protection." Then the Virgin, raising a face bathed in tears, comforted the sisters, "I assure you, daughters, that you will suffer no evil, only have faith in Christ." Upon seeing the courage of the sisters, the Saracens took flight and fled back over the walls they had scaled, unnerved by the strength of she who prayed. She is the patron saint of eye disease, goldsmiths, laundry, television, bicycle messengers, good weather, needleworkers, remote viewing, extrasensory perception, Santa Clara, California, Santa Clara Pueblo, New Mexico, Obando, Bulacan, and the Philippines.
Now, once in a while, you will find such beautiful relics on eBay. You can find them on Etsy. You can find them, believe it or not, at thrift stores, which is absolutely insane. And here's one being sold for $1,190. Now, they should not be sold and they should not be bought. It's a real thing. And so, I mean, unfortunately, you can still buy them, but there's a loophole to get away with it. And what they'll say is the reliquary, it says comes with the relic of St. Clare of Assisi as shown. And basically, you are bidding on the reliquary. The relic is included gratis, meaning in Latin free, as a free gift. And this is how you get away, boys and girls, with selling of the relics. Now, it is frowned upon in the Catholic Church. It's actually considered a sin. So I don't know I hope I'm not in any kind of trouble. That would not be cool. Now, I was trying to find out, more information about these different relics that you can find on the internet. This one is in an online museum. And here's an example of one that's in a beautiful reliquary. And this one's creation date was 1960. It doesn't mean that the relic came from 1960, but they found her tomb in 1850. She was buried under mounds and mounds and mounds of crypts, and they actually unearthed her bones. She was actually uncorrupt, or incorrupt, meaning that her body was not decayed. But when they finally opened it up, then the decay started, and then there was nothing left but bones. But when they found her, she had still flesh on her body, and they found her clothes were completely disintegrated, but she had still flesh on her body, which is a miracle. She's considered incorrupt. Now you'll find the documents usually go missing. This is what an original document would have looked like, and this is an ex ossibus, which is ex bone of Saint Clara. This one dated, I'm not very good with Roman numerals, I think 1950 or 1960, I don't know. And it always describes the theca that the relic is contained in, argentum, that means a silver, I believe in Latin. And so this is actually saying that the actual theca that's holding the relic is silver, and it describes it. And sadly though, and it's also signed usually by a postulator in Rome or Italy, and 9 times out of 10 these documents are long gone. Now these churches really want these relics. And so here's the Franciscan Sisters of Christian Charity. They're really proud to have their relic of Saint Clara and Claire. I call her Clara, Saint Clare of Assisi, August 11th, my mother's birthday. And they have one on display for everybody to enjoy, which I'm trying to do. I called multiple Catholic churches up, and they said since mine don't have documents with them, most of them do not have documents, they cannot be venerated at the church. And so I'm going to have to meet with a bishop in November to get all my first-class relics actually approved by him with documents so people can enjoy them, which I will share with multiple churches. Now, I found a similar Thecka to mine with the angels going around it. And this one, it was dated 1988, but this is a completely different saint. This is a completely different saint's actual remains. And so I wanted to see like when this Thecka was made around. So what I'm seeing is anywhere between like 1970 to the late 80s, this particular Thecka design was made. And then I wanted to see the stamp. And then lo and behold, I looked and it had the same type of Redeemer stamp that's on the back of mine. So apparently the Redemptionists actually got a hold of these type of Theckas and put together a bunch of holy relics. So I do know that mine is actually legit. It's the real deal. It's like this example is being sold on the Russian store website where they sell nothing but real deal relics. And it's in Boston, USA, by the way. And yeah, sold. But yeah, and this one actually came with the certificate. And we just sort of had the same stamp as mine, Antonius Marazzo, and Congregationists of the Redemptionists. And there we go. This one dated 1988. So we know that mine is definitely from at least 1970 to 1988. It was put together. So here it says, for roughly 6 centuries, the body of St. Clare lay buried deep under a high altar of her basilica. Following the excavations and finding of St. Francis's remains in 1850, Pope Pius I think that's the 9th, granted permission that excavations be made to search for the body of Clare. Thus, after 7 days, the stone coffin containing her body was found. When it was opened, it was discovered that St. Clare's body, though blackened with age, was still incorrupt. She was buried with her poor tunic in addition to the rule that she had written. Her remains were put into a crystal coffin, which was placed in a newly constructed crypt, completed in 1872 within the basilica. The feast of finding the body of St. Clare was instituted by Pope Pius IX, is celebrated by Franciscans and conventuals, as well as the poor Clares. And as in time, St. Clare's remains began to deteriorate. Thus, a mask was constructed to cover her remains, which was soon reduced to bones. The mask can be seen by the public today, while her actual relics can be seen only by the sisters who have access to the rear of the crypt. And this is when, actually, this is now how she looks, but these are all like her bones, all disintegrated. And then is that her skull with teeth? Oh my God, sorry, I didn't do a trigger warning. And here's like the mask and what it looks like. She's like covered with lilies, and somebody actually, this is what it looks like now. They put a whole wax thing and reconstructed her. So people that look at this think that this is actually her body, but this is what it really looks like. This person by accident that wrote this blog said they happened to get into this basilica and did not know that he was not allowed in this area. And he walked in and he took the picture. There he is. He took the picture of this, and then he was quickly ushered out of there because nobody was supposed to see this. And they were supposed to see this instead. And so that's like really creepy, really, really creepy. And so St. Clare scared away a bunch of Muslim warriors and stopped them from tearing down the convent. By the way, look at the angels. Doesn't that remind you of something? It reminds me of the Thecka that she's housed in. And there's her holding up a monstrance. It was actually really a box, but it's very similar to this. And she scared them all away. They saw something that terrified them, obviously, because they scaled the walls and then ran down the walls and disappeared because they got so terrified. So once again, thank you so much for watching another one of my videos, and we'll be unboxing more holy relics that are arriving sometime this week. So stay tuned, and we'll see which saint arrives. Actually, I think one's supposed to arrive tomorrow or the next day. So subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys all soon.